Devastating news for the Cincinnati Bengals today. Trey Hendrickson, or Cincinnati Bengals fans, I guess. The Bengals did it. Trey Hendrickson has been given permission to seek a trade and part ways with the Bengals. And this one stinks. It stings a lot knowing where the defense was. It stings a lot knowing what this guy contributed to the team. Literally, the only guy getting pressure on a quarterback last season, had half the team sacks, a defense that played horrendous football, a defense that, if it plays better, makes a playoff push and a playoff run. And the Bengals say, let's go ahead and walk the best guy out the door. And you look at that and, you know, as horrendous as that sounds, you do take a step back and say, was it a blessing in disguise? Was that a good thing to do? On business, when it comes to running a team, the Bengals handled Trey Hendrickson perfectly, actually. Of all the guys, of all the noise. Why? Because they said, here's an extra year, we'll tack it on. Keep on playing, you're over 30. We know pass rushers over 30, they decline pretty quickly. Trey Hendrickson, they tack on another year and say, all right, here's one more year, we'll make you feel a little safer. Meanwhile, Trey Hendrickson has to go all out. He has to play his best. He has to do whatever he can to earn his final contract. He wants one more contract, a longer term one. You play your best. That's what Trey Hendrickson did. Bengals say, all right, perfect. He's got 1 year left. We can now trade him because we don't feel comfortable signing him to a longer term deal. We know the decline. They played that perfectly, really. Because if he doesn't make a trade this season, he gets 1 more year again. He has to play his best to get 1 more contract. The problem is they played every other situation so poorly is they can't afford to lose Trey Hendrickson. Even if Trey Hendrickson declines, let's say we get 70% of Trey Hendrickson's production, 70% of Trey Hendrickson's production next season we got this season, that's still the best pass rusher on the team. That's how far the gap is. If Trey Hendrickson leaves, if they do not sign BJ Hill, the Bengals will walk in with none of these starters on the defensive front they walked into last season with. That's a lot of holes to fill. The Bengals are in a situation where they have so many holes to fill, they can't afford to lose a guy like Trey Hendrickson. Now, can they afford to pay him $30 million a year for 3 years? That's the problem. That's a lot of money to be throwing around a guy at that age. But right now they can't afford to lose him because if you want, you cannot waste the prime of your players. At any point in time, something bad can happen with the way you protect Joe Burrow, the way he takes the hits, or the way T. Higgins' hamstring can pull up. Anytime things can go sideways. So when you're at the prime, when you have your best players, you go all in. Like the Eagles are right now. They're going all in. They know Saquon's getting up there in age, but they're saying right now we're going all in. They know that they've drafted perfectly. They're going all in. They're signing anybody they can. That is what you have to do. The Bengals are in a position to go all in. And if you can keep the guys around, you keep them around. Because right now you look at free agency and say, who's going to replace Trey Hendrickson? Everybody in free agency is the same age. They don't let these guys stay around. And the thing with Trey Hendrickson, they're not getting a first round in return. If they get a first round in return, wow, okay, what a move. All right, now I'm in. But everybody in the league knows the same thing the Bengals do. He's 30. He's over the age of 30. Pass rushers decline. You just looked at the Chiefs do it. The Chiefs just let a guard go. It was a Thuney, right? I think they got a mid-round pick. All pro. Stellar player, but again, everybody knows the value as players decline, and that's the issue. The predicament the Bengals are in here. It's like, is the pick worth it? And maybe this is a situation where Bengals say, hey, seek a trade, see what you can get, see what kind of money other teams are offering you, and if he comes back and says, all right, the money's not as good as I thought it'd be, okay, we'll stay here for a year or two. Maybe that's the play the Bengals are doing. They're saying, test the waters, Trey. We've kind of seen them try that in the past before. Test the waters, come back to us, and we'll see if we can match what they want. And that's probably a really best case scenario. Again, unless the Bengals could somehow squeak out a high draft pick, I find that unlikely because you got to keep somebody on this defense. You can't start from scratch. That's not going to work out. Not when you're trying to win right now. I understand trying to bring guys in. I understand trying to draft them, but you can't start from scratch. We'll see what happens. I'm not as optimistic. I'm trying to think of the perspective of the front office, the organization, what their game plan is here. But I can't help but think it feels like a dead-end road because you can't afford to lose this guy. You can afford to lose T. Higgins. I know people don't want to hear it. You can afford to lose T. Higgins. I would not stress about that because I know and I trust my quarterback. I don't know and trust this defense without any pass rushers at all. We already seen what it was with one pass rush. Can you imagine with no pressure and these guys in coverage? You can't win football games giving up 35 a game. This is the thing. The Bengals offense had the best offensive performance under Joe Burrow last season in the history of Joe Burrow on the Bengals. They missed the playoffs. The Bengals' best defensive performance under Joe Burrow was not 2 seconds, half a second short of winning a Super Bowl. Keep that in mind. Nonetheless, love the all thoughts. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.